Welcome to Stellar Education Presents Sadaaqa. In January 2022, Sadaaqa began documenting, celebrating and capturing for posterity the human element of the long and ancient connections between India and Kuwait. And I've already mentioned this quite a few times that this is a relationship rooted in ancient trade going back to the Indus Valley civilization times. So recently, this relationship has become more profound and nuanced with more and more Indian expatriates getting involved in nation building here. Now, our title sponsor for our next 3 episodes is a stellar example of that. Stellar Education is a knowledge and education enterprise founded in Kuwait by KO Mathew, founder, vice chairman and director, and his wife Rosemary Koshy. Now, Sadaaqa featured the story of the Mathew family in our 2nd season, and today we will feature in a very special segment later on in Sadaaqa Stephanie Mathew Thomas, KO's daughter and a 4th generation Indian in Kuwait who is continuing the task of nation building by contributing to a vital sector, which is education. Now, since its founding 30 years ago, Stellar Education has founded 6 schools, nurtured 10,000 students, employed 1,000 staff members and boasts 6,000 alumni with 4 distinct curricula: American Common Core, Indian CBSE, British Cambridge and IGCSE and Pakistani FBISE. It's quite an enterprise built by Kuwaiti and Indian partners, a collaboration that we celebrate on Sadaaqa. Now, before we introduce you to our guests today, we would like to thank our sponsors and collaborators. A journey like Sadaaqa would not have been possible without corporate sponsorship, and we thank Stellar Education, our title sponsor, Al-Mullah Exchange, one of the largest remittance companies in Kuwait, and Mughal Mahal, the ultimate name in Indian cuisine in Kuwait, for their patronage and support. We will talk more about Stellar Education in a special segment that will follow, but before that, we will introduce the couple we are honored to feature in our October episode. Now, we know that Kuwait's health department, since its very inception, has featured renowned Indian doctors, and we have one of the most celebrated Indian doctor couples on Sadaaqa today. I will first introduce our viewers to Dr. Riaz Khan, former head of Neurology department at Ibn Sina Hospital, a brilliant Indian doctor. Dr. Khan has served the state of Kuwait for more than 40 years. A neurologist from Madras Medical College, Dr. Khan began his career as a research associate with the Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR. Since 1981, he was actively involved in building up the Department of Neurology at the Ibn Sina Hospital. He was chairman of the department as well. Over the years, Dr. Khan has represented Kuwait at the World Congress of Neurology. He also established the Kuwait Neurological Society in 1986 and conducted many national and international neurological conferences and workshops. He has also been involved as an academic with Kuwait University, sharing his skills and knowledge with young Kuwaiti doctors. For his outstanding services to the Indian community in Kuwait, he was awarded the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation Award in 1998. He also co-founded Indian Doctors Forum, a premier organization of Indian health professionals in Kuwait. And we are so very honored to have this very special man on Sadaaqa today. Dr. Riaz Khan, welcome to Sadaaqa. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Chetali. It has been a great pleasure for me to join once again with your show.
That's right. We spoke to Dr. Khan on a show that I used to do for radio called The Guest Show, and we had a wonderful time doing that episode,
Certainly we had.
Yeah, so I look back at that episode very fondly. Dr. Khan, I want to ask you how to look back at tell us briefly about your early journey in medicine. How did it happen? How did you become a doctor?
Well, I am a doctor by default.
Okay.
I actually didn't want to be a doctor, okay, but circumstances made me a doctor, okay. Actually, it was the college which my mother wanted me to study. That was the Loyola College in Madras. That was her dream, that her son should study in Loyola College.
It's a very well-known college.
Very well-known college. So when I went to the college, I had applied for Group 1, that is for engineering.
I see.
But Father Francis Xavier, who was the principal, he told that he had no seat for me in that group. And he offered me seat in the science group.
I see.
So since my mother wanted me to study there, so I took up the science group.
That's so wonderful. I wonder if they make sons like that nowadays, right? Who do things too. But it is very common in India and in Southeast Asia, right?
Of course.
Parents, we do give a lot of respect to what our parents want.
And the children, of
That's
course,
right.
obey their parents.
Yeah. They still do. I agree with you. So then what happened that you decided after finishing your undergrad that you were going to go for your MBBS, is it?
Yes, okay. I did my MBBS. And then later on, I joined the MD course in general medicine.
I see.
So while doing the MD course in general medicine, I had to have a thesis. A thesis which I should present to Madras University to get my MD degree. So I was searching for a subject. I saw so many subjects and they were discarded by my professor. One day I was sitting in my outpatient department and there came a girl on a wheelchair.
Okay.
And she had burning feet.
Burning feet?
Yes.
I see.
Burning sensation in
her
the
feet. Okay.
So I asked her, where are you from? She told that she was a Burma repatriate, a Tamil Burma repatriate which had come from Burma and they were in a camp. So she told me that there are several of them having similar symptoms.
I see.
So I went to the camp and collected all those patients, and that was how my thesis was born on peripheral neuropathy.
I see. What was the reason for the burning feet, doctor?
It was supposed to be a nutritional neuropathy.
I see.
They were all malnourished.
Malnourished, that is the reason why
That is the reason why they developed all these symptoms.
I see.
This was a stepping stone for the Indian Council of Medical Research to start a project on peripheral neuropathy.
I see. And you were associated with
I
that,
was
right?
associate.
Yes. You were working there as well, right?
Yeah. I was working for Indian Council of Medical Research as a research associate.
As a research associate. Yeah. You arrived in Kuwait in 1980, quite a long time back. Now, what was the health infrastructure like in Kuwait, and how has it evolved?
The infrastructure of Kuwait
in those days
was quite well developed in the region.
Okay, in the region.
In the region. They had a number of polyclinics attached to a big polyclinic, and one of these big polyclinics were attached to the general hospital.
I see.
So at that time, the project of the health ministry was to open general hospitals in all regions of Kuwait. So they had a general hospital in Adan, Farwania, Jahra, Mubarak. These were all the general hospitals that were started at the same time. It was a huge, huge project which they had to recruit a lot of people for these hospitals.
Was this around 1980? That was the time?
It was in the 1980, 81, 82, all one by one the hospitals were started to be inaugurated.
I see. But now when you look back, and now that you've seen so much of development, what do you feel as a medical professional?
As a medical profession, the health services have diversified.
Okay.
There are a lot of super specialities that have come about, such as the cancer center, the dialysis center, the genetics center, the cardiology center. So these centers soon erupted into huge facilities that attracted specialized treatment models.
So the development has been quite immense, Yani.
Yes.
And it's comprehensive now in the sense
Very
that
comprehensive. The infrastructure is vast and it has been invested heavily by the health ministry. But the problem is overcrowding in all these centers. So the waiting time and the appointments have been stretched a lot in the health system run by the health ministry.
so perhaps they need even more hospitals or something like that?
They have started to have classified hospitals into various categories, like the insurance hospitals
Okay.
for the expatriates, like the other super specialty hospitals like the Jahra Hospital, only for the Kuwaitis. And the other hospitals have been integrated and expanded into various bigger models, like the Jahra Hospital, Farwania Hospital, Adan Hospital. So all these things have been added extra departments and super specialities so that they could expand.
So that has helped the health ministry function better. So you have been since 1981, you were actively involved in building up the Department of Neurology at the Ibn Sina Hospital, where you later assumed the chairmanship. How exciting were those days?
Oh, it was a very proud moment.
I can imagine.
And it was so difficult to establish a department. Actually, to collect the required specialists in neurology was a big job. So I brought neurologists from my old alma mater, the Madras Medical College.
I see.
I brought them here and I got them into this neurology department so that they could lay the foundation stones and to train the young Kuwaiti doctors to become and assume the other roles that they should be qualified to do.
How happy have you been training young Kuwaiti doctors?
Oh, it has been a very proud moment. Even to this day, wherever I go, I am told, oh, I was your student.
Okay.
And I feel so proud
I know.
that to know that my students have assumed various other important posts in the Ministry of Health.
That's right. I'm sure that's a great,
Yes,
that's a great feeling of.
It is a huge feeling.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So you were also an active delegate for Kuwait at the World Congress of Neurology, and you established the Kuwait Neurological Society in 1986 and carried out conferences and workshops. As an Indian, your contribution to the health infrastructure, to the health sector of Kuwait has been immense as a doctor, as an Indian. How do you look back at your journey in this country?
In this country, all this assuming these posts and these responsibilities certainly gave like a pride of cultural exchange. It is the exchange of knowledge, it is the exchange of the culture, how deeply we are rooted in treating patients, in being as transparent as possible in our responsibilities, and of course, mentoring younger generation to assume their own responsibilities. So it has been a very, very satisfying, challenging, and in the end, a very rewarding experience that any Indian should feel about being in Kuwait for such a long time.
For such a long time. Dr. Khan, we have to take a short break. As we mentioned in our introduction, this program is now Stellar Education Presents Sadaaqa. Stellar Education is our title sponsor. And we have a short segment which is called Education with Stellar. And that is something that we need to take a break for. And we will just come back later to the program.
Thank you.
Welcome to Stellar Story. Well, Sadaaqa is a program that highlights India-Kuwait friendships and relationship documents, and I have to say this educates interested segments on nuances of this relationship. Now, Sadaaqa is very proud to collaborate with a sterling, or may I say, a stellar example of Indian entrepreneurship in Kuwait, and that is Stellar Education, founded by KO Mathew, a visionary, along with his wife Rosemary Koshy. The Stellar Education Group includes 6 schools cutting across various sectors and curriculums. Now, in this section, which we call the Stellar Story, we will speak to Stephanie Matthew Thomas, Head of Sustainability and Strategic Growth, about what makes Stellar Education what it is today, what accounts for its very rapid and swift rise. So welcome to Sadaaqa, Stephanie. We are so glad to have you here with us.
Thank you, Chaitali. It's an honor and a privilege to share this moment with you.
Well, so my first question for you, Stephanie, is, and now the fact that you're in education now. Now, were you expected to join because of your family connections, that your family already had a business, or was it something that you wanted to do by yourself?
Well, I had no expectation that was placed upon me. In fact, the interest to start being in education was a program or a course that I did at King's College when I was doing my master's. And I joined this particular module for global governance and social responsibility. And I had so much fun throughout the course, and I did a thesis or dissertation on the same subject and did lots of first-hand studies within that particular field. And I realized that this topic or this area is something that I really want to do, and I just felt natural to think, let's just begin with our schools here in Kuwait.
Okay.
And Dad was all the more happy.
I'm sure he was, right? Now you have someone to lead the business to, So that is great, yes.
So that's how I started. I knew what I wanted to do, and I was just all the more happy to do it for our schools.
So, Stephanie, I do want to ask you this. I mean, you mentioned King's College. Very briefly, tell us, what did you specialize in?
I studied international management, international business management.
Okay. At King's College?
Yes, and I knew that I would run our family business at some point, if not as early as I did, or as early as I started, but as soon as the opportunity presented.
A shining example of a successful Indian woman here in Kuwait. So your family's journey in the social care sector spans over 70 years, and we've captured this journey on Sadaaqa way back in 2023 when we interviewed Katie Mathew, her grandfather, Thomas, KO Mathew, her father, and her aunt, and her grandmother. So Mr. Katie Mathew and Mrs. Leela Mathew have been in healthcare with Al Isa Medical for a long time now. Now, how has this legacy shaped your personal vision for Stellar Education?
Well, for me, we're 4th generation Indians in Kuwait. And I thought that after seeing my parents working so hard to build the schools that we now have here in Kuwait, and then my grandparents that obviously started with the medical business, as you mentioned, we just have this legacy that stands as the foundation for us, off of which we developed our schools. And for me, my greatest opportunity and challenge, I think, lies in my title and designation at our schools, which is to sustain our businesses, make sure that they're long-term, and then grow it to the next level, where we're also looking at expanding across the region. There are opportunities in Kuwait as well, but we're mostly looking outside Kuwait and across the region.
Sustainability is a major, major issue, right? I mean, that's at the root of any successful business. And it's so good to see that, you're one person who is continuing and who's going forward with the legacy. And you don't see too many 4th generation Indians who are still managing to hold their own here in Kuwait. So all kudos to you, and we hope to see you again in our next segment next month.
I'd be happy to, of course.
Welcome back to Stellar Education Presents Sadaaqa, and we are talking to Dr. Riaz Khan, and who's had a very, very eventful life here in Kuwait. And we were talking about, your contribution to the health sector. Now, very recently, you have shifted to the private sector. You're with Dar Al Shifa now.
Yes.
And so you have seen both sides of Kuwait's health sector.
Certainly.
You have been for years and decades with the government sector, and now in the public sector, now you're with the private health sector. So what are the challenges and advantages of both these sectors? It's not, I know it's a very loaded question, and
yes,
perhaps
it is.
We can go on on this, but very
Yes,
briefly, if I were to ask you.
The health sector from the government side has a huge accessibility to the people of Kuwait, and it has got an enormous infrastructure. But this also comes with a lot of responsibilities for the health ministry, and to provide actively to these groups of people and citizens as well as expatriates together is a very huge responsibility. And the other challenge that they have is the bureaucracy, the plans that are not rapidly given credit to. When compared to the private sector in Dar Al Shifa, we have point of care for the patients. The patients' waiting time is reduced.
I see.
The patients' addressing to their problems is becoming a very easy for us, and there are no bureaucracies. All the visions and the missions of the Dar Al Shifa Hospital are met very easily and rapidly, but it comes at a cost.
Yeah, that's right.
There is a cost attached to this, whereas the citizens in the health system gets it all free. There they have to have a payment for that, and even the expatriates have to pay.
Yeah, it's not easy, I agree with you.
It is not easy.
It's not easy, and you need insurance.
Of course.
You need, yes, in order to access a hospital like that, it is, you need the financial backing, you know.
Certainly.
So, yeah, so that definitely is a challenge for some expatriates here in Kuwait. Yeah, I agree with you. So we are going to take another short break, Dr. Khan. As I said at the beginning of the show, and I think you will also realize that with a program like Sadaaqa, it's not easy to do it without support from the corporate sector.
Of course.
And it's a journey that we have been continuing for 3 years, inshallah.
Yes.
You know, and it is not easy to continue a show for 3 years.
Yes, certainly it is not easy.
Yeah,
Without sponsorship,
it is difficult.
You are lost.
You're lost, absolutely. So we'll take a short break. Our sponsor, a partner and collaborator, Al Mullah, they have a small gift for you, which we would like to give you. And it will make us very happy to be able to do that.
yes, certainly.
As we mentioned, Dr. Khan, that Al Mullah is one of our long-time collaborators. They have been with us on the show for almost, I think it's going to be 2 years. Now, Al Mullah is one of the largest remittance companies in Kuwait. I'm sure you must have used Al Mullah.
Of course.
And I have been using Al Mullah for a very, very long time. I'm an old
Very
friend of
reliable.
theirs. Yeah, reliable, right?
Yes.
And I always say this, and I know I always say this on each show, but then they have this app. I don't know whether you've used this app.
Yes, we have.
You have used the app?
Yes, I use.
I think I use this app like I use something like Talabat, you know. It's like I need to buy a sari, so I need to send money. I use this. I need to buy something for my personal use. I need to send money to my children who are studying abroad. I use the app. It's so user-friendly.
Very convenient.
Very convenient. Yeah. And if you, and the other thing about Al Mullah is that if the people friendly, you know, the customer service is so very good.
Yes.
So if you need anything and you have a trouble, you give them a call and they fix it for you, you know.
Certainly.
So it's like
They're
that.
very professional.
Very professional in their, yes, in their work. And so we would like to give this to you on behalf of Al Mullah
Thank you, Al Mullah. Thank you.
You are watching Stellar Education Presents Sadaaqa, and today we are featuring two stellar Indian health professionals in Kuwait who have set the bar very high for people in their profession. But that's what stellar individuals do, just like our title sponsors who run one of the largest education companies in Kuwait. Now let's give you the names of the 6 schools they own and manage. Creative Children International School, Canadian Bilingual School, Indian Central School and Pakistan English School, Aspire Indian International School and Aspire Bilingual School. All 6 are doing exceptionally well and contributing to what I would call Kuwait's education scape. Now it's time we introduced you to our second guest, a dear friend of mine, Dr. Tahseen Khan, wife of Dr. Riaz Khan. Dr. Tahseen is a woman who wears many, many hats. She's a doctor, a painter, a jewelry maker, a polymer clay artist, an art teacher, all rolled into one. And that's not all. A neonatologist with Jahra Hospital. Tahseen is president of Indian Women's Association, a leading and the oldest non-profit organization of Indian women in Kuwait that has supported community work since its founding in 1998. And we are so very happy and honored to have her here with us today. Welcome to Sadaaqa, Tahseen. It's so nice to have you on the show at last.
Thank you, Chetali. So nice to be back on your show.
It is
nice talking to you
nice
again.
Nice talking to you, and I love coming to Tahseen's house because it's such a warm feeling. We are surrounded by her art. You can see there is this painting. I don't know whether Anis has been able to show you the painting, which is right, where we are seated, and you can. I think people can see just a hint of it. But what we'll do, Tahseen, is we'll take photographs of the paintings that are around your house and show our, the audience through our reels. She's such a wonderful artist, and she's so, the amount of work that she has done over so many years, and she has taught so many students, and she's had exhibitions here in Kuwait. It's really mind-boggling. So you're a doctor, painter, jewelry maker, polymer clay artist, and an art teacher. So there are so many sides to you. So what takes precedence? What is more important to Tahseen Khan?
Quite a juggling act, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, yes.
Yeah. I'm a physician, doctor by profession, and that comes on the top.
Okay.
But I juggle and I multitask, and I do all the other tasks too. So I really enjoy doing all my artwork. But precedence
is your medical profession. And I think perhaps your art is a way of I think your art allows you to de-stress from, the stress, which is quite, what should I say? It's a part of the profession, right? Like media has its own stress and tensions associated with the medical profession too has that. And being an artist, you have an outlet. Let's put it that way.
I'm not prescribing medicine to the patients. I'm prescribing some paint on the canvas.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Now, and my students get bored with the doctor stories I keep telling.
Yeah, you do that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. At your growing up years back home in India, what are the strongest memories that you have?
My formative years were in Madurai.
Okay.
It's a temple city, and the atmosphere was very different. And then for a long time I was there. And then after Madurai, I shifted to Chennai. It was a cultural shock because, Chennai was more modern and metropolitan. And I went to an English school where, modern slang, that I found it a little difficult to adjust earlier. And then, of course, Chennai was a wonderful city, and I grew up there. And then I went to Stellar College, and then Madras Medical College.
Yeah, so both of you are from the same college, huh?
Yes.
Aha, so is there a connection there that we are missing? Was it? Was it? I never asked this question to you.
It's secret. My parents don't know.
Even your parents don't know. I see. So that is interesting. See,
Yeah.
I got them there. So Madras Medical College, Dr. Riaz Khan and Dr. Tahseen Khan. There is a story behind that, which we will find out later. Maybe not in front of the camera, but behind that, right? So tell me, so therefore the inspiration to become a doctor was there even when you were growing up?
Right.
As a young girl, as a
Yes,
girl,
yes.
right? So what was you came to Kuwait in 1981 with your husband. What was the neonatology department was there a neonatology department
In
then?
1980, when we came here, we started Jahra Hospital.
Okay, you started Jahra Hospital.
Yes. When we came there was nothing. And we started the Jahra Hospital.
Okay.
And that time, the pediatric department was there, but there was no neonatology department. And we started from scratch. Me, my friend, colleagues, Dr. Usha and Dr. Uma, we three of us started the neonatology department from scratch.
Okay.
Before that, the patients, newborn patients who were born there, had to go to maternity hospital.
Okay, so there was no specific department for neonatology.
It started after 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that, the neonatology department in Jahra, do we have other departments like that in other hospitals as well? Or
Yes, they have in Farwania.
Okay.
Yeah, they have Farwania, Adan Hospital and Maternity Hospital. They are the hospitals that have
the big
neonatology
government
department.
hospitals have
Yes.
that department. Now,
Wherever there's a maternity,
Okay.
there is a,
Okay. So it is connected to that.
Connected.
So as a layman, there are so many things that we don't know, and it's always good to ask. So you brought up your children in Kuwait, right? And how do you look back at those years? Now I'm asking you as a mother, how were the growing up years of your children in Kuwait?
Both my children were brought up here and they received their education, formative education, schooling in Kuwait. And I'm absolutely grateful because they had such a wonderful education here in Kuwait. And moreover, they were with us and we were able to instill our values and cultural heritage into them. And apart from that, that all our colleagues and friends who started together in these 4 hospitals. So we're all at the same age and we had the same, children, the same milestones growing up. And we used to have picnics and we used to have school events all together. We became a vibrant community by ourselves. It was wonderful and made some unforgettable memories with them. It was a wonderful time.
Your children must also be looking back, at those years with a lot of fondness.
Yes,
they love Kuwait, I'm sure.
All the childhood was spent here.
That's right. They look at Kuwait as their home, I feel.
Yes,
right?
it was home because my daughter especially has never been to India.
Yeah.
She was born here and she
grew up here and now she's in the States and she's a doctor herself, right?
She is a psychologist.
She's a psychologist. She's a musician, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Isra Khan is very, very talented. And so is your son, who is a doctor.
My son is a scientist.
Yes,
Yeah,
he's a scientist. Okay,
yes.
okay. Now, apart from medicine and your art, you've also been active in philanthropy in Kuwait through IWA. Now, I want to ask you about the association because when I first came to know Tahseen, which is like many, many years back, almost 2 decades back, if I'm not mistaken. And I was told that you must meet the vice president of IWA. She's a very special lady. And that was the time when I met her and it was at her home. And I saw this model, which I always tell a lot of people about. She made a model of her husband, which I'm sure is still there somewhere. And I suppose we show it in our reels of him sitting in an armchair and reading a newspaper. And I remember that. That was the first time I met her. And that's when IWA came into the picture, Indian Women's Association. I came to know about Indian Women's Association. So how old is IWA and how did it come about?
Indian Women Association is here since 26 years. Last year we had a jubilee. And it started off with our patron at that time was Mrs. Lalita Nair.
Okay.
The wife of the then ambassador.
Okay.
Yeah. And it started the small group of people and we involved ourselves in helping the women stranded in the shelters waiting for repatriation. And that's how we started. Since then, we have grown and a network of ladies joined together. We are from different cultural backgrounds, different states of India, different professions, and we join together and form a network. And a basic this thing is to help and humanitarian activities.
Yes, I would be asking you more questions, talking about the network of ladies. And over the years, you've seen many, many Indian women who have excelled in various fields here in Kuwait. One of them is someone we featured just a short while back in education with Stella, Stephanie Mathew Thomas, who I think you know and you have collaborated with for Iowa programs, if I'm not mistaken, right? A bright young Indian woman who is making her mark in the education sector here in Kuwait. Now, what is the scope of Iowa's activities? Is it charity, or is it also other things?
Our motto is to lend a helping hand. We involve ourselves in humanitarian activities and helping people. And the main goal here nowadays is to take care of the educational goals of children here in Kuwait who are not able to afford the exorbitant fees. And also, we form especially, the ladies, single parents who are not able to afford, and sometimes they are not able to, children who have been stranded here. So we try to pay their school fees.
Help them out.
Yeah.
And how involved is the association with the Indian community here in Kuwait, apart from what you said about helping out students who are not able to pay their fees? I think you're also involved with awareness, because
we do have a lot of health awareness camps, and we also conduct gatherings for ladies to empower ladies. We recently had one thing about financial security for ladies, and how to make them financially secure, and also about home businesses. We do have little groups of people join together, collaborate, talk about their problems and exchange views. And also we also have support groups for children with special needs, the parents of the children with special needs. Yes.
Okay. And how do you collaborate with locals here in Kuwait? Do you have any Kuwaiti collaboration?
We actually we go to the Kuwait Society for the Disabled.
Okay.
And there, along with Sheikha Umnia Mubarak al-Sabah, she's a patron there, and does wonderful work. And along with her, we go and visit those children, the children who are there, and they are individuals there especially. And we go and interact with them, we sing songs and dance with them. It gives them a respite from the routine of the hospice. So that's how we go and interact with them. We dance and sing and see their happy faces. It really makes us feel so fulfilled and happy.
And I think in your events, you do invite the Kuwaitis as well, apart from other expatriates. You also invite Kuwaitis. I have seen them attend your shows and enjoy the shows as well, whatever event you do, So, Tahseen, looking back at your time here in Kuwait, there will come a time when all of us, have to move out and go back home to India or wherever we want to settle down. What is that one thing that you will take with you when you go from here? I mean, what is that thing which you will miss the most? And we hope that this does not happen for the next 2 decades at least. I've known her for almost 2 decades, and you never know, how long this association will continue, but inshallah for a long time. What will you take?
The most memorable thing here is the family feeling, the friends we had here. We had such wonderful friends and became a family, because been such a long time we have been here in Kuwait. This has become almost our home. And all the friends, we grew up together, we faced the same problems with the children, and then later. So we all have a community network and made unforgettable memories with them.
That's wonderful.
So I miss them. Really.
So you will miss that. And I think now it's time we get Dr. Riaz Khan on the show, and then we'll have a short chit-chat together, right?
Sure.
Welcome back, Dr. Khan, to Stellar Education Presents Sadaaqa. Now, before we go to our last segment, which is fun, a fun section which is sponsored by Mughal Mahal, I want to ask the both of you, and perhaps one of you can take the question, that how do you see the contribution of Indian health professionals to Kuwait's health sector?
Okay. Leading businessmen are here, lot of other professionals are here, particularly the doctor community, the physicians and the surgeons are a really marvelous group that have contributed enormously to the development of the health sector, and that they deliver the vision of the Kuwait Ministry of Health to the people of Kuwait. So this is how we see their contribution is really enormous, and it continues to be.
It continues to be so.
Moreover, Shetali, I feel, the culturally, the Indians are more closer to the Kuwaiti culture.
Okay.
And also we have that compassion, which is respected and gives a patient experience, becomes really great with the
Yeah, I
Indian
agree with
community.
you that culturally we are closer. I remember when I first came to Kuwait, and I remember the importance that I realized that I felt immediately at home when I realized that the family was the foundation stone of society. And that is something which is the same back home in India. And that's so it draws immediately someone who's from a similar mindset, it draws that person closer to this land. So you are a co-founder and a president, former president of Indian Doctors Forum, a very elite organization of Indian health professionals, and you are a member as well, Tahseen, of that association.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So that too has, I think, very actively played a role in strengthening the ties
Yes.
with the locals here.
Oh yes, it has certainly done a lot of functions which
Interactions
included
between,
the interaction with the local community of Kuwait.
How do you see this collaboration evolve in the future? Do you see this bond strengthening, or do you think, how do you see it?
Of course, it should be strengthening with India advancing in so many fields, particularly the pharmaceutical industry, where they have been pioneering recently the pandemic.
That's right.
The vaccine was really a great boost from Pune. And it was sent to various parts of the world, including Kuwait. So in that sector, perhaps it will be having leaps and bounds in the pharmaceutical center.
I see. And I think a lot of Kuwaitis now and also in the past have opted for health tourism also to India, if I'm not mistaken.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, they go in for those treatments, specialized herbal treatments, and particularly in Kerala, in those resorts where they fancy themselves as being pampered and treated and become well and to come back regenerated.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we've come to the end of the show, but before that we will take a break for, before we do that, it is time for Ahlen Kuwait, which is sponsored by Mughal Mahal. So welcome to Ahlen Kuwait, Dr. Khan and Dr. Khan. Now, you are familiar with Mughal Mahal. Who isn't here in Kuwait? They are like old friends of ours, right?
Mughal Mahal.
Your children
grew up in Mughal Mahal.
Grew up with Mughal Mahal.
Sideways too.
Yeah, so Mughal Mahal has been a huge support, and I really thank those three gentlemen there for their continuous patronage to this program. Well, Mughal Mahal, as I've told my listeners, I'm very used to saying my listeners because I do so much of radio, but to my audience here, you invariably you break into the listeners. So my audience here, that Mughal Mahal is one of the leading chain of Indian restaurants in Kuwait, and the way they have been growing over the years, and their food is so popular here in Kuwait, especially amongst the Kuwaitis, that it is really, it is interesting, and you feel very proud to see that. So my question, I'm going to ask you both the same questions. So you take it, and I would like to see that both of you answer. Now, what's your favorite memory of Kuwait that you will cherish? I think you've answered this question, Tahseen, earlier in the segment that we did, about family,
friends and family gatherings.
Dr. Riaz Khan, what would you say is your favorite memory of Kuwait?
My favorite memory of Kuwait is the life which I spent.
Okay.
nearly more than half of my living life we have spent here. And we have fostered so many memories. That is not one memory we cannot. It is just
That
like
is
a
true.
kaleidoscope
Yeah, it's like a
of so
kaleidoscope.
many memories that are intermingled with everything.
Okay.
Even when we go in the car and I just tell Tahseen, look, this is so-and-so's house is here.
Yeah,
Look, this is the spot where we came so many years ago.
that's right.
So these are the things that are, they are part of our life.
That's right.
And we have given our life golden years to this place. And it is really etched in our mind. In every corner, every nook and corner, it is still will be living memory.
Okay. And a Kuwaiti food you like to eat, what would it be for you?
Majboos.
Majboos? You like majboos?
Yes.
Okay. And
of
what
course.
about you,
I like
Tahseen?
the kebabs and
You like the kebabs,
yeah.
okay. So, do you cook, Tahseen?
yes, I do cook. Yeah.
Do you know how to cook majboos?
No.
I've tried learning. I mean, I don't always
I should
remember.
try to learn it,
You
yeah.
should try to learn the majboos. It's not very difficult. I've seen it cooked at
I
home.
like,
So, what's your
biryani and
comfort food?
I like to have nuts and dry fruits.
That's
More
your
of that.
comfort food?
Yes.
Spoken like a true doctor. Nuts and dried fruits. I mean, that can never be my comfort food.
It doesn't stop. It keeps on. That's the problem.
That's the comfort.
Yes, that's
the
the
comfort.
comfort. Dr. Riaz Khan, what's your comfort food?
Mine is paya.
Paya, yeah, that's nice. I like that better. Not
And
very
biryani, of
healthy,
course.
but very tasty.
And biryani, of course.
And biryani, of course. Now, your favorite Mughal Mahal outlet and why?
Oh, we like the shark one.
The shark
Oh,
one.
the
Started
shark
with
one.
that.
Really,
Yeah.
really.
That
It
was
is-
the best.
It
Memories.
is where we have the memories.
Yeah, your
We
kids.
wonderful
made a lot of
memories.
noise in that place.
Every birthday, every anniversary, every celebration, Mughal Mahal.
Mughal Mahal, that's right. Okay. A Kuwaiti you greatly admire.
They're not one.
So
A
many.
lot of families. The Al Shaya family, the Al Ghanim families, Al Bishr family, Zaban family. So these are the families which we admire. But the leader of all these families and Kuwaitis, one person I really, really admire is His Highness Sheikh Jabir Ahmad Al Sabah,
Okay.
the late Amir of
Yes.
Kuwait. I really admire him. And of course, all the other royal family members, those who are even at present, the Amir, His Highness Sheikh Mishael, and the other members of the families, we really admire them, okay, for their courage and for their leadership and for everything they have provided for us.
Yeah, for the expats, that's right.
For the expats, they have really given us a home away from our homes.
Yeah, home away from home. I agree with you. What about you, Tahseen?
I admire Sheikha Omnia, I told you.
Yes.
Was with us with Indian Women Association, and Sheikha Aurad. These two ladies have been very helpful, and they are very philanthropic, and they do a lot of work for the downtrodden, underprivileged.
For the
I really
underprivileged.
admire them.
Okay, and I must say that especially when I did that interview with Dr. Riaz Khan, and I had a lot of responses from Kuwaiti listeners and who admire you, Doctor, very much so, and
thank
your
you.
work with Ibn Sina Hospital. And I'm sure that you have your own admirers as well amongst the locals here.
hope
But I haven't had the opportunity to meet them yet, Tahseen, but I know that they are there. Now, your favorite spot in Kuwait, the place that you really like,
I love the Kuwait Towers.
The Kuwait Towers?
I have seen a sunset on the top of the Kuwait Towers,
Okay.
and memorable,
Stunning, huh?
stunning it was. I made a painting of that also.
You made a painting of
Yes.
that?
From
Okay.
the Kuwait Towers, I have taken a picture.
I see.
Beautiful. I can never forget it. It's
Okay.
etched in my memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about you?
Oh, the same thing.
I see.
What my wife likes, I like.
Like a good husband. What his wife like, he likes.
Very diplomatic.
Very diplomatic answer. But that was very nice. And do you have a lot of paintings inspired by Kuwait, Tahseen?
Yes, I have. You know, mainly. You see that one there? That
Okay,
was,
I'm going to show.
yeah.
I'm going to show
So,
the audience
I
some.
mean, the highway especially.
The highways.
I have some paintings called Road to Jahra, because every time when I'm commuting to my hospital, I see beautiful sceneries on the roadside and all that, and the buildings, and the sunset behind the building. I really admire those.
She makes me stop
Yeah.
at certain non-stoppable places to take pictures.
To take pictures so
Over
that
the
she
bridge,
can paint
I
them
want to
later
take
on.
the highway on the
Yeah. Yes, well, that's what happens when you have an artist for a wife, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So I have to now give you the gift voucher, which has been given to us by Mughal Mahal. It's a 50 kg gift voucher, and I think you're going to go to Shark.
Of course.
But I don't think you can actually use this at one go. But this is for the both of you on behalf of Mughal Mahal.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you,
Mughal
Thank you,
Mahal.
Mughal Mahal.
for
We
Thank
really
you very
enjoy your
much.
food, and we'll enjoy your
Adrak ke
adrak ke
panje.
panje.
Adrak ke panje,
Our
huh?
favorite food.
Your favorite food? Okay, that's one thing I don't think I've tried, so I need to try that one.
Oh, they are lovely.
They are nice, huh?
Oh.
Okay, so Adrak ke panje it is next time, and thank you so much, Dr. Riaz Khan and Dr. Tahseen Khan, for being on Stellar Education
Thank you.
Presents Sadaaqa. It was a real honor and a pleasure to have you on the show with us.
Thank you,
It's an honor to
Chadali.
be here.
Thank you.